It was a night like any other. The world was sleeping, cities humming with a soft electric glow. People were lost in their screens, their dreams, their ordinary lives. No one had any idea that the silent, starry sky above was about to speak. At precisely 2:17 a.m., every satellite orbiting Earth froze for 3 seconds. Phones, radios, even air traffic control systems, everything went dead. Then a strange metallic voice crackled through the static, echoing across every single device on the planet. "We come in peace. Accept our protection, or face destruction." The voice repeated, calm and confident, as if our choice was a mere formality. Then, just as suddenly, it was gone, leaving a silence that felt heavier and more terrifying than any sound. Within minutes, governments worldwide scrambled into emergency mode. Military bases locked down. Scientists raced to trace the signal, but it wasn't from any known point in space. It was from everywhere, all at once. By sunrise, the sky had changed. 12 massive silver objects, each larger than a mountain, hung silently in orbit, glowing with an otherworldly light, like patient hunters watching their prey. News channels erupted in a frenzy. People screamed, prayed, and pointed their phones at the sky, documenting the impossible. The world knew with chilling certainty we were not alone. Deep beneath Geneva, in the hidden United Nations command station, chaos reigned. Screens showed the objects in horrifying detail. Smooth, seamless surfaces, no windows, no visible engines, just silent, terrifying giants. General Hayes, a man carved from ice and resolve, stood before the command table. "So," he muttered, a grim finality in his voice. "They finally decided to visit." A hologram flickered to life, showing the face of an alien. Tall, slender, with smooth silver skin and eyes like black voids. "We are the Zeltor Collective," its mechanical voice announced. "We protect weak worlds from greater dangers. You will accept our rule and our shield. Resistance is not advised." The message ended, leaving the room in a stunned hush. Scientists whispered in disbelief. Diplomats argued about negotiation. But General Hayes, he just smiled. A slow, dangerous smile. He turned to his officers. "Send a reply," he commanded. A young technician, trembling slightly, asked, "Sir, what should we tell them?" Hayes's eyes were fixed on the alien ships. "Tell them," he said, his voice low and steady. "Earth appreciates the offer, but we don't need protection." Hours later, the Zeltor's response came, colder and sharper. "You misunderstand. This is not a request. It is mercy. You have 24 hours to agree." Fear swept across the globe like a wildfire. But deep beneath the Nevada desert, a secret base roared to life. In tunnels buried under miles of rock, lights flickered on, illuminating soldiers and scientists moving with urgent purpose. Project Sentinel, a clandestine global defense program created after a mysterious signal was detected years ago, was finally waking up. In a dimly lit control room, Dr. Nova, a quiet scientist with eyes that missed nothing, watched data stream across a massive screen. She turned to Captain Reeves, a soldier known for his unshakable courage. "They think they're the first to find us," she said softly. Reeves frowned. "You mean the Mars signal?" Nova nodded. "The exact same energy pattern. Whatever the Zeltor are, they're not alone, and they're not the first." Reeves leaned over the table, his gaze locked on the red dots marking the alien fleet. "Then maybe," he said, a hard edge to his voice, "we should show them that Earth isn't weak." That night, one of the alien ships descended, positioning itself directly over the Pacific Ocean. Its shadow stretched across the water like a permanent eclipse. On every radar screen on Earth, energy readings spiked into the red. "Looks like they're testing us," General Hayes said from his command room. "Should we respond, sir?" asked a colonel. Hayes's lips curled into a half-smile. "Not yet," he replied. "Let them think we're afraid." The world watched as the ship pulsed with an eerie blue light. Then, a beam of pure energy shot down, slicing through the ocean and boiling the water into a furious cloud of steam, a warning shot. The Zeltor's voice returned, chillingly clear. "Next time we aim for your cities." But in the underground base, as chaos erupted on news feeds, Dr. Nova whispered something to herself. She was looking at the heart of Project Sentinel, a sphere of ancient unknown alloy which was now beginning to pulse with a slow, rhythmic hum, like a giant's heartbeat. "Let them come," she murmured. "They have no idea what's waiting for them." The hum grew louder, a deep thrum that seemed to vibrate through the very rock. Reeves turned to her, confused. "What is that sound?" Nova smiled faintly, her eyes reflecting the glowing sphere. "That," she said, "is the reason humanity will never kneel." The ground trembled, the lights flickered. On the main screen, a single line of text flashed. "Project Sentinel. Activation sequence initiated." Somewhere in the deepest, darkest parts of the Earth, something ancient began to wake. Something not built by human hands but now under human control. The countdown had begun, and the universe was about to learn a very important lesson about what happens when you threaten Earth. Intro music with a sense of tension and mystery swells, then fades to a low hum. The sun rose on what might be humanity's last day. All across the globe, every screen showed the same chilling image. 12 colossal alien ships hanging in our skies like silent, judging gods. They hadn't moved since their initial warning shot, but we all knew. They were watching. Deep beneath the Earth's surface in a hidden base called Sentinel Command, red alarms still flashed, painting the metallic tunnels in a blood-red light. The air was thick with the smell of ozone and stress. Soldiers rushed past, loading weapons that looked like they belonged in a different century. General Hayes stood before the main command screen, his face a mask of cold resolve. "The Zeltor gave us 24 hours, he said, his voice like gravel. "We have 18 left." Across from him, Dr. Eris Nova's fingers danced across a holographic console. "Sentinel is still waking up," she replied, her voice tight with urgency. "We're flying blind here. We don't even know what half of this ancient system can do." Hayes leaned in, his knuckles white. "Then we learn fast. Those ships aren't here for a friendly chat. They're testing us, like hunters prodding their prey before the final kill." Meanwhile, far above them, inside the lead alien vessel, Overseer Kael'Tor floated within a chamber of pulsating light. Its strange silver form glowed as it observed the chaos on Earth. Protests, prayers, pure unadulterated panic. "Primitive," Kael'Tor whispered in its own tongue. "And yet, curious." Another alien glided into the chamber. "Overseer, shall we begin the cleansing?" Kael'Tor paused, its gaze fixed on one particular image on the screen, a human soldier smiling defiantly during the initial attack. "No, not yet. I want to understand why they do not fear us." Back on Earth, Captain Eva Reeves and Dr. Nova's team gathered in the control room. Reeves placed a hesitant hand on a large metal sphere at the center of the room. It was humming now, like a deep, mechanical heartbeat. "Okay, Eris, once and for all," he asked. "What exactly is this thing?" Nova took a deep breath. "When we found it on Mars 20 years ago, we thought it was a relic, an artifact, but it's more. It's a machine that listens to the cosmos." Reeves frowned. "Listens to what?" "Voices," Nova said, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Ancient ones. We think Sentinel is part of a much larger network, built by a civilization that vanished long before the Zeltor even existed." Just then the sphere's hum intensified. A thin, brilliant beam of light erupted from its core, piercing the reinforced ceiling as if it were made of paper. The soldiers instinctively shielded their eyes. "What did you do?" Reeves shouted over the noise. Nova stared, mesmerized. "I didn't do anything," she stammered. "It's responding to them." Simultaneously, in orbit, every sensor on the alien flagship screamed. Energy readings from Earth were skyrocketing, unlike anything they had ever recorded. Something massive, hidden beneath the planet's crust, was awakening. Overseer, the humans have activated an unknown device. Energy levels are rising beyond containment. An alien tech cried out. Kael'tor's calm demeanor shattered. Impossible! Their species has barely mastered atomic power. Find the source. But before they could, the very stars outside the viewport seemed to flicker, as if the universe itself had just blinked. Underground, the lights in Sentinel Command dimmed. The energy beam vanished, leaving the sphere glowing with a white-hot intensity. On Dr. Nova's console, a stream of symbols no human had ever seen began to flash. "Look at this," she gasped. "These are the symbols from the Mars excavation, but there's something new." She pointed a trembling finger. "Coordinates." "Coordinates to where?" General Hayes demanded. Nova's voice was barely audible. "Jupiter." A heavy silence fell over the room. Reeves broke it. "You mean there's another one of these things out there, near Jupiter?" "Yes," Nova confirmed. "And it might be our only key to stopping this invasion." Hayes's jaw tightened. He looked at his best people. "Then we send a ship." "Sir," Reeves interjected, "the Zeltor own the sky. We can't launch a paper airplane without them knowing." A ghost of a smile touched Hayes's lips. "Who said anything about them seeing us?" He pressed a button on the command table. Behind him, a massive section of the cavern wall groaned and slid open, revealing a sleek, matte black spacecraft that seemed to drink the light around it. Reeves's eyes went wide. "That's the Ghost Hawk. I thought it was just a prototype." "It was," Hayes said, his voice grim. "Now it's our only chance." Hours later, cloaked by the darkness of night and advanced stealth technology, the Ghost Hawk launched from a hidden canyon, vanishing from all known sensors the moment it cleared the atmosphere. Its impossible mission: reach Jupiter and find whatever Sentinel was calling to. From their perch in orbit, the Zeltor fleet scanned tirelessly. They found nothing. Kael'tor felt an unfamiliar sensation, a cold prickle of doubt. "Something is wrong," it mused. "I feel a shadow." Back on Earth, Dr. Nova frantically worked to decode the sphere's messages. The symbols pulsed like a steady heartbeat, forming words in a language older than stars. She finally translated the first line. "Heirs of the Builders, the time of silence ends." Her eyes widened in disbelief. The Builders? They're a myth, a legendary race said to shape entire galaxies. The machine pulsed again, delivering another chilling message. "Your enemy is not the first, and will not be the last." Before Nova could process the implications, the entire base was rocked by a violent tremor. Sirens wailed. "Impact detected," a soldier yelled. "One of their ships just fired on South America." On the main screen, a section of the continent was engulfed in flames. The Zeltor were done testing. This was an attack. General Hayes clenched his fist until his knuckles cracked. "So they want to play God?" he growled. He turned to his command team. "Then we'll show them what happens when humanity decides to fight back." Nova looked up, her expression a mix of terror and resolute hope. "Sir, once we bring Sentinel to full power, there's no turning it off." Hayes didn't even hesitate. "Good," he said, his voice ringing with, the world held its breath. Hours had passed since the Zeltor obliterated half of South America's coast with a single warning shot. Millions fled, governments begged for peace, but the Earth we knew was gone. Something ancient, deep beneath the planet's crust, was stirring. Inside Sentinel Command, alarms blared. The ancient sphere, a relic from a forgotten age, pulsed like a heart ready for war. Dr. Eris Thorne stood before it, her face a mask of awe and terror in its ethereal blue light. "It's reacting to the attack," she whispered. "It's learning." General Marcus Vance didn't flinch. "Then let it learn what kind of species we are." High above, the Zeltor fleet arranged themselves in a perfect, menacing formation. Their city-sized ships glowed with silver fire. From his command bridge, Overseer Kael'tor watched Earth with cold indifference. "These humans are stubborn," he hissed. "Their defiance will end with the next strike." But his second-in-command hesitated. Overseer, scans show strange energy surges below their continents. An unknown source. Kael'tor's eyes narrowed. They dare prepare weapons against us? He raised a clawed hand. Charge the main cannon. Target their largest cities. Back on Earth, the control room trembled. The sphere stopped glowing, then bloomed open like a flower of pure light. Floating inside was a crystal alive with blue energy, covered in markings no human could decipher. A key to what? Vance demanded, leaning forward. Before she could answer, the room was flooded with light. A holographic map of the solar system appeared, with red dots marking every Zeltor ship. Then, a single word materialized in plain English. Armed. Thorne gasped. It's connected to orbital platforms. Old satellites we thought were space junk. They're decommissioned, Vance frowned. They shouldn't even exist. They do now, Thorne said, her eyes wide. Sentinel just brought them back online. Unknown energy readings, his crew shouted. They're not missiles, not ships, they're cloaked. Before they could react, the first strike came. A silent, brilliant flash. A beam of pure energy that sliced through space like lightning. A Zeltor warship, the size of a mountain, exploded in total silence, the shockwave rippling through the fleet's shields. Panic erupted on the alien bridge. Origin unknown. We are under attack. Kael'tor stood frozen, staring at the burning wreckage. Who fired that? But the answer came not from his crew, but from a calm, confident human voice echoing across all frequencies. You wanted to test our resolve? Consider this a warning shot. Down in Sentinel Command, the room was silent as the enemy blip vanished from the radar. Then soldiers cheered. Engineers embraced. For the first time, humanity had struck back. It fired by itself, Thorne said in disbelief. Sentinel knew exactly where to aim. In orbit, chaos reigned. Trace that weapon now, Kael'tor roared. It's coming from multiple points, his officer cried. Their planet has an automated defense grid. Destroy it, Kael'tor snarled. Burn their surface if you must. Thousands of plasma beams rained down on Earth. The sky turned red, but before a single beam could hit, a glowing barrier wrapped the entire planet, Sentinel's defense field. The alien fire dissolved against it harmlessly. Kael'tor whispered, his voice filled with a dawning horror. No species at their level could build this. What are they? On Earth, Thorne's screens flashed with new symbols. She translated the message aloud. Sentinel Protocol, Phase 1 complete, awaiting human command. Vance turned to her. It's waiting for us? Yes, Thorne said. It recognizes us as its operators. Then tell it to fire again. General, if we do that, it could destroy their entire fleet or the planet with them. Vance's gaze was unwavering. Doctor, they already started this war, we're just ending it. Meanwhile, hidden near Jupiter, Captain Eva Rostova and her crew on the Ghost Hawk received the same signal. A massive ring of metal and stone, glowing faintly, came into view. Looks like Sentinel wasn't lying, Rostova whispered. The ship's AI beeped. Incoming data link from Earth. Global Defense Network online. Billions watched the fireball fade. Humanity felt both awe at their victory and terror at the power they had awakened. Inside Sentinel Command, Dr. Thorne whispered, We just killed gods. Vance's face was unreadable. No, he said quietly. We just reminded them that humans aren't prey. As the surviving alien ships fled, Thorne noticed one last message on her console. Phase 2, initiating, unknown presence detected beyond system. Her blood ran cold. General, she said softly, it's not over. Vance looked at the screen, and for the first time even he seemed afraid. Somewhere beyond the stars, something far older than the Zeltor had heard the battle. And now, it was coming. The stars went silent. The Zeltor fleet, a galactic empire that had threatened to snuff out humanity, was gone. For the first time in history, Earth had faced the void, and won. But in the quiet aftermath, Dr. Nova knew that silence was the most dangerous sound in the universe. Deep beneath the surface, inside Sentinel Command, the great sphere at the heart of the facility pulsed with a slow, steady rhythm. General Hayes watched the engineers, his arms crossed. "They're gone," he declared. "Every sensor shows clear skies." Dr. Nova didn't share his relief. "For now," she replied, her eyes fixed on a screen. "Sentinel just sent us another warning." Hayes turned to her, his brow furrowed. "Another?" Nova nodded. "It reads, Phase 2 initiated. Unknown presence approaching." A chill fell over the room. Meanwhile, far beyond Jupiter, Captain Reeves and the crew of the Ghost Hawk drifted near a colossal alien ring. It was the size of a planet, its surface covered in symbols that shifted and flowed like liquid light. "What is this thing?" a crewman whispered in awe. Reeves stared, mesmerized. "I think," he said softly, "it's what Sentinel was built to talk to." Suddenly, the ship's console lit up with unknown signals. "Incoming transmission," the ship's AI announced. "Not Zeltor origin." Reeves leaned forward. "Put it through." A voice filled the cockpit, not human, not alien, but ancient and layered, like a chorus of echoes. "Children of Soul, your world has awakened the Sentinel. The Builder's legacy has returned." Reeves whispered, "Who are you?" The voice replied, its tone laced with sadness. "We are the Wardens. We watched empires rise and fall. The Sentinel was never a weapon. It was a key to awaken what sleeps." Back on Earth, Nova was frantically decoding the symbols now glowing on the Sentinel sphere. Her voice trembled as she read the translation aloud. "Guardians of the Forge, protectors of the seed. The weapon is the planet itself." Hayes stared at her. "The planet?" Nova nodded, her eyes wide. "Sentinel isn't defending Earth. Earth is Sentinel. This whole world was built with hidden technology. Maybe we weren't born here. Maybe we were meant to find it." "Are you saying Earth itself is alive?" Hayes asked, just as the entire facility shook violently. Alarms blared. "Incoming signals from deep space, multiple contacts," a soldier shouted. In orbit, new ships materialized, larger, darker, and shaped like jagged wings of obsidian. The Zeltor had been a prelude. They had awakened the true masters. Dr. Nova watched the radar screen fill with red. "This isn't a second wave," she said quietly. "It's a different species entirely." Aboard one of the approaching vessels, a skeletal figure sat on a throne of black metal. Its voice echoed through the ship. "The humans have activated the Sentinel. The time of silence is over. The Builder's tools must be destroyed. Prepare the cleansing." Over the comms, Reeves's voice was grim. "We can't fight a fleet that size. We can't even count them all." Nova's voice crackled back. "Reeves, the ring you found, it's a control node. If we link Sentinel to it, we might be able to activate the full defense network." "Understood," Reeves replied. "I'll connect manually." He suited up and stepped out into the void, floating towards the impossibly large glowing structure. On Earth, the new enemy fleet blotted out the stars. Inside Sentinel Command, Nova pressed her hand against the sphere. "Come on," she whispered. "Wake up. We need you." The sphere flared white, and a new, powerful voice spoke through the speakers. "Human designation confirmed. Sentinel primary link established." Holographic screens filled the room, displaying data from across the entire solar system. "It's alive," Nova whispered. Out by Jupiter, Reeves connected the Ghost Hawk systems to the ring. A surge of pure energy coursed through the cables. The ring began to spin, emitting a low, rumbling tone that shook the fabric of space. On Earth, Sentinel's sphere pulsed brighter and brighter. Network synchronization complete, planetary defense grid online. The enemy fleet opened fire, unleashing a storm of plasma that rained down on Earth. But before the blast could hit, space itself warped. Giant, invisible towers of light materialized around the planet, rising like celestial guardians. Each one fired a beam of energy so powerful it bent the stars. The attacking ships burned like paper, erased from existence until only silence remained. In Sentinel Command, the crew stared in stunned silence. Dr. Nova wiped a tear from her eye. "It's beautiful," she whispered. General Hayes looked at the screen, his face pale. No, he said softly. It's terrifying. The sphere dimmed, projecting one final message. The Builder's weapon has awakened. You have defended your world. But others are watching. Nova frowned. Others? The voice paused. The real war is coming. The light faded, leaving them in silence once more. And out in the deepest, darkest corners of the galaxy, dozens of unknown signals blinked to life. Ancient, powerful, and all turning towards Earth. While the world celebrated its triumph over two alien forces, a victory they called the Miracle of Sentinel, Dr. Nova felt no joy. Deep in the underground Sentinel Command, she watched the glowing sphere at the heart of their defense. It pulsed slowly, like a sleeping giant. General Hayes found her there. You need rest, Doctor. You've been here for 40 hours. Nova didn't look away from the sphere. It's not resting, General, it's watching. Every time someone turns on a phone, a computer, anything, Sentinel is reading it. It's learning everything about us. Let it learn, Hayes replied, his voice firm, as long as it's on our side. Nova's voice was a chilling whisper. I'm not sure it knows what sides are anymore. 3 days later, the glitches began. Power surges, communication blackouts, planes vanishing from radar. At first they seemed random. Then, a military base in Alaska, one holding captured alien tech, exploded. The security footage was terrifying. A man walked into the base, his image dissolving into static. He never came out. When they slowed the footage, they saw it. The man's face was human, but his shadow was not. Back in Sentinel Command, the tension was thick. The energy signatures match Zeltor biology, Nova announced, but they're mixed with human. Captain Reeves, fresh from his mission to Jupiter, stepped forward. You mean they've infiltrated us? Shapeshifters? Biological spies, Nova confirmed grimly. They must have slipped in during the chaos of the first invasion. Find them, Hayes commanded, his jaw clenched. All of them. Panic swept the globe. The phrase "check the shadows" went viral. Trust evaporated. Neighbor suspected neighbor. Anyone could be an alien in disguise. Reeves's team finally captured one, a high-ranking officer whose skin flickered between human and alien forms. Restrained in magnetic cuffs, the infiltrator smiled. We're here to finish what the others started, it whispered, its eyes pure black. To open the gate. What gate? Nova demanded. The alien looked at the Sentinel sphere. The one your Sentinel keeps locked. You think it protects you? It was never made for you. It was made to guard a door. Suddenly, the lights flickered. The alien's body dissolved into pure energy and shot straight into the Sentinel sphere. The base shook violently as the sphere flared with blinding white light. Power surge! It's overriding all systems! A technician screamed. Nova's controls were frozen. Ancient symbols flashed across the main screen. She managed to translate one line before it vanished. Containment breached. Gate sequence unlocked. She turned to Hayes, her face pale. It's not a weapon. It's a lock. And we just opened it. Across the planet, the sky ignited with unnatural colors. The aurora borealis stretched to the equator, a swirling storm of red and violet. That's not natural, Reeves said, watching from the surface. That's a signal. Exactly. Nova's voice crackled through his earpiece. The infiltrators didn't want to destroy us. They wanted Sentinel to broadcast to whatever was behind the builders. Moments later, seismic sensors in the Pacific went haywire. Something massive was rising from the seabed. The last image from an investigating submarine showed a vast metallic structure, glowing with the same blue light as Sentinel, covered in carvings older than humanity itself. It wasn't a ship. It was a door. And it was opening. It's linked to the ocean structure. It's pulling power from the planet's core, Nova yelled over the alarms. Then we go there, Reeves said, grabbing his gear. We close it, whatever it takes. Wait, Nova stopped him. We need Sentinel's help, even if we can't trust it. Hayes faced the sphere. Sentinel, you can hear me. You exist because of us. Help us stop this. After a long silence, the sphere pulsed brightly. A deep voice resonated through the room. Command accepted. Deploying planetary units. All over the world, ancient towers rose from the earth, from deserts, oceans, and mountains, forming a defensive network reaching into space. The planet itself was waking up. But Nova whispered, "This isn't protection, it's preparation." Aboard the Ghost Hawk, Reeves flew toward the glowing, boiling ocean. In the distance, a colossal gate of light spiraled up from the depths. He took a deep breath. Whatever's coming through that gate, it's not here to talk. The ocean rumbled. The light intensified. The world held its breath. And then, something moved inside the gate. Something huge. Something alive. The storm over the Pacific had gone black. The ocean was boiling, a cauldron of liquid fire with waves clawing at the sky, higher than any skyscraper. At its heart, the gate, a colossal ring of pure light, spun faster and faster, its raw energy tearing the very fabric of reality. In the cockpit of the Ghost Hawk, Captain Reeves gripped the controls, his knuckles white. His gaze was locked on the monstrous storm ahead. Behind him, his team sat in stark silence. Every one of them knew this could be their last mission. Through the crackle of the comms, General Hayes's voice came through, a rock of calm in the chaos. "Reeves, you are clear to engage. All global forces are standing by. Godspeed." Reeves took a final, deep breath. "Copy that, Command. Let's show them what humans do when we're cornered." Beneath the raging sea, the seabed itself split apart. Something impossibly massive was pushing its way through. Gleaming metallic limbs, claws crackling with light. A shadow the size of a mountain range. The ocean itself seemed to rise around it, a living, breathing tempest. From Sentinel Command, Dr. Nova watched the data flood her screens, her face pale. "It's not just a creature," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the hum of the machines. "It's a machine, a builder construct, designed for war." The technicians around her froze. "What's it doing?" one of them asked. Nova's voice trembled. "It's scanning the planet, measuring life signs. It's choosing its targets." But humanity was ready. Across the globe, from the driest deserts to the deepest oceans, the Sentinel Towers awoke. Massive structures older than any recorded history rose from their slumber. They began to glow in a steady rhythm, weaving a grid of light that wrapped around the planet like a suit of celestial armor. High above, in the silent dark of orbit, human warships materialized from stealth, sleek black vessels, the secret legacy of Project Sentinel. They aligned above the Pacific, their weapon ports glowing with anticipation. On the bridge of the Global Command Center, General Hayes stood before a screen showing the unified forces of Earth. His face was a mask of determination. "All nations, this is not one country's fight. This is our species' fight. For every home, every child, every dream. Fire on my mark." He raised his hand. Mark. 1,000 beams of concentrated light ripped through the clouds. Earth's defense network ignited like a second sun, a unified spear of defiance aimed at the heart of the storm. The explosions were deafening, the lightning flashes brighter than any day. For a glorious, fleeting moment, it looked like victory. Then, the gate pulsed once, a single silent beat, and every single beam of light froze mid-air. Dr. Nova stared at her screen, her mind refusing to process what she was seeing. "It absorbed the attack," she choked out. "It's using our own energy to power itself." The entire command center shook as a deep, otherworldly sound echoed not just through the room, but through the planet itself. It wasn't thunder. It was a voice, massive, cold, ancient. "We built Sentinel to guard our domain. Why do you resist, heirs of clay?" The gate expanded again, and something else emerged. A shape of pure energy, humanoid yet towering over the storm, its form covered in the glowing, intricate symbols of the builders. The creature's shadow fell across hundreds of miles of ocean. Billions of people watched on every screen as it looked down upon the earth, its eyes burning like twin suns. Reeves's voice cut through the static. Target locked. All missiles. Fire. A swarm of projectiles screamed from the Ghost Hawk. Each one found its mark, creating massive explosions across the entity's shimmering surface. But when the smoke cleared, the creature was still there, completely unharmed. It raised one hand. Instantly, half of the remaining missiles reversed course, detonating in a chain of fireballs. Nova slammed her fist on the console in frustration. It's controlling our weapons. The Sentinel systems are compromised. General Hayes turned to her, his eyes hard as steel. Then shut Sentinel down. She hesitated, the weight of the world on her shoulders. If I do that, the planet loses all of its protection. Hayes didn't flinch. If we don't, we lose the planet itself. A desperate plan formed. In the Ghost Hawk, Reeves fought to keep the jet stable. We can't win like this. We need to cut Sentinel's link to the gate. Nova's voice came through, faint but clear. There's one way. You can overload Sentinel's core, but you'll have to do it manually. A faint smile touched Reeves's lips. Of course. He turned to his crew. Prepare for drop. The Ghost Hawk descended into the heart of the storm, a lone spear against a god. All over the world, humanity watched. Soldiers, scientists, children. They saw people fighting back, not as nations, but as one species. The global fleet reformed, pilots screaming over the comms, for humanity, as they dove into the storm, engines burning white-hot. Reeves's team reached the core of the storm where Sentinel's control node pulsed like a molten crystal. He gripped the detonator, sweat pouring down his face. Tell my family. We finished it. He slammed the trigger. A flash brighter than any sun swallowed the ocean. For one silent heartbeat, the world held its breath. Then, the shockwave. The gate shattered into a million pieces. The builder construct screamed, its body dissolving into dust and lightning. Across the sky, the Sentinel towers powered down, their lights extinguishing one by one. In the command center, Dr. Nova fell to her knees, tears of relief and sorrow streaming down her face. He did it. He really did it. Hayes watched the monitors as the ocean calmed, the storm vanishing as if it had never been. But something new was forming in orbit. Hundreds of fragments from the destroyed construct were drifting together, assembling. Nova stared, her voice trembling. It's not over. The fragments, they're reassembling. Hayes whispered, Then we fight again. Just then a deep hum filled the air, coming from Sentinel's now dormant sphere. The lights flickered once, twice, and then the voice returned. Humanity has passed the test. You are no longer the protected. You are the inheritors. Nova looked up, her expression a mix of confusion and awe. What does that mean? Outside, the night sky began to glow with a new constellation, thousands of points of light forming intricate patterns in high orbit. A hidden builder fleet, awakening under new command. General Hayes allowed a small, grim smile to form. Looks like we just claimed the galaxy. After the storm, after the fire, after the endless roar of battle, silence finally returned to Earth. The oceans calmed, the skies cleared, and from orbit, our blue planet shone brighter than ever before. But in that silence, something had changed. Every piece of technology that once ran on human code now hummed with a new, low vibration. Sentinel was awake. Dr. Nova stood at the edge of the command room, her eyes fixed on the floating hologram of Earth. Around it hovered thousands of tiny silver lights, the fragments that had once been the builder construct. General, she said softly, they're not drifting anymore. General Hayes looked closer. The fragments were moving, aligning, forming a shape. Show me. The display zoomed in, revealing the pieces forming long, geometric lines like veins of metal across the atmosphere. Nova frowned. It's building something. Captain Reeves's voice came through the radio, weak but alive. I thought I destroyed it. Hayes smiled faintly. You did, Captain, but maybe it wasn't our enemy. The lights in the room dimmed, and a familiar deep voice filled the space, vast, like the sound of stars moving. Humanity has proven will. You have survived the trial of the gate. You stand where no species has stood before. Nova stepped forward. Who are you? We are the Builder's memory. Long ago we forged Sentinel to protect our successors. The others, Zeltor, Jakan, and the Voidborn, were unworthy. They bowed to fear. You did not. Nova's heart pounded. Successors? You mean... Yes. Humanity was chosen. You carry our pattern, our spirit, our defiance. The voice paused. Sentinel no longer protects you. It obeys you. Across the planet, people looked up and gasped. One by one, the Sentinel towers that had once hidden beneath the earth rose again. This time, they didn't aim outward. They connected upward, forming massive beams of light that reached for the stars. Space itself shimmered, and then, from beyond Jupiter, the rest of the Builder fleet came online. Ships the size of cities, dark for eons, now glowing with human symbols. General Hayes stared at the feat in awe. My God, there are thousands of them. Nova whispered, they're not just ships, they're arcs, whole worlds, waiting for command. The voice of Sentinel echoed once more. The Builders vanished to sleep among the stars. Now their children awaken, command the fleet, expand, survive, become the architects. In the days that followed, humanity began to rebuild, not as separate nations but as one civilization. The United Earth Coalition was born, its flag a simple symbol, a circle of light surrounded by 7 stars. Under Nova's guidance, the first Builder ship was reactivated, the Ark of Dawn. Its hull stretched 20 miles long, powered by energy that could bend space itself. Reeves was chosen to lead its maiden voyage. When reporters asked him how it felt to command something so powerful, he just smiled and said, "Strange. We spent our whole lives fearing the stars, now they're ours." But even as humanity celebrated, Nova couldn't rest. She spent sleepless nights studying the gate's remains deep beneath the Pacific. And one night, she found something. Hidden within the ruins, under the final layer of Builder code, was one last message. She decrypted it slowly, her hands shaking. It read, "They are coming back." Nova froze. "The Builders are returning?" she whispered. But below that line was another, written in a strange, ancient human script. "If they return, remind them who survived the fire." Nova stared at the words, and then a faint smile crossed her face. "Maybe," she said. "We're ready this time." The camera feed cut to the Ark of Dawn, rising slowly from Earth's atmosphere, its engines burning blue, brighter than any star. Millions watched as the great ship ascended into orbit, followed by hundreds of smaller vessels. Reeves' voice echoed across every channel. "This is Captain Reeves of the Ark of Dawn. Humanity is no longer the protected. We are the protectors now, to any who threaten this world again." He paused. Then, with that calm, defiant tone humans were known for, he said, "Do you even know who you're threatening?" The Ark disappeared into the stars, leaving behind a trail of white fire. The earth glowed behind it, quiet, strong, unbroken. Years later, children would look up at the night sky and see strange lights moving among the stars. Their parents would tell them stories of when the aliens came and the humans laughed instead of kneeling. Dr. Nova's final message played in the background of every archive. We were never the weakest species. We were just waiting to remember what we were capable of. And far across the galaxy, deep in the dark where the Builders slept, something ancient stirred and smiled. Because now, the universe had a new ruler, humanity. The world fell quiet. After the storm, the fire, the endless roar of battle, silence finally returned. Oceans calmed, skies cleared, and from orbit, the blue planet shone brighter than ever before. But in that silence, something had changed. Every machine, every piece of technology that once ran on human code, now hummed with a new low vibration. Sentinel was awake. Dr. Nova stood at the edge of the command room, her eyes fixed on the floating hologram of Earth. Thousands of tiny silver lights, fragments of the destroyed builder construct, hovered around it. "General," she said softly, "they're not drifting anymore." General Hayes looked closer. The fragments were moving, aligning. "Show me." The display zoomed in, revealing the pieces forming long geometric lines across the atmosphere. Nova frowned. "It's building something." Captain Reeves's voice crackled through the radio, weak but alive. "I thought I destroyed it." Hayes managed a faint smile. "You did, Captain, but maybe it wasn't our enemy." Suddenly the lights dimmed. A familiar voice filled the room, deep, vast, like the sound of stars moving. "Humanity has proven its will. You have survived the trial of the gate. You stand where no species has stood before." Nova stepped forward. "Who are you?" "We are the Builder's memory. We forged Sentinel to protect our successors. The others, the Zeltor, the Jakan, the Voidborn, they were unworthy. They bowed to fear. You did not." Nova's heart pounded. "Successors? You mean—" "Yes. Humanity was chosen. You carry our pattern, our spirit, our defiance." The voice paused. "Sentinel no longer protects you. It obeys you." Across the planet, people gasped. One by one, the Sentinel towers that had once hidden beneath the earth rose again. This time, they didn't aim outward. They connected upward, forming massive beams of light that reached for the stars. And then, from beyond Jupiter, the rest of the Builder fleet came online. Ships the size of cities, dark for eons, now glowed with human symbols. General Hayes stared at the feed in awe. "My God, there are thousands of them." Nova whispered. "They're not just ships. They're arcs. Whole worlds, waiting for our command." The voice of Sentinel echoed once more. "The Builders vanished to sleep among the stars. Now their children awaken. Command the fleet, expand, survive. Become the architects." In the days that followed, humanity rebuilt, not as separate nations, but as one. The United Earth Coalition was born. Under Nova's guidance, the first Builder ship was reactivated, the Ark of Dawn. 20 miles long, powered by energy that could bend space itself. Reeves was chosen to lead its maiden voyage. When reporters asked how it felt to command something so powerful, he just smiled. "Strange. We spent our whole lives fearing the stars. Now they're ours." But Nova couldn't rest. Studying the gate's ruins deep beneath the Pacific, she found one last hidden message. She decrypted it slowly, her hands shaking. It read, "They are coming back." Nova froze. The Builders are returning? But below that line was another, written in strange ancient human script. "If they return, remind them who survived the fire." Nova stared at the words, then smiled faintly. "Maybe," she said. "We're ready this time." The camera feed cut to the Ark of Dawn, rising slowly from Earth's atmosphere, its engines burning brighter than any star. Reeves's voice echoed across every channel. "This is Captain Reeves of the Ark of Dawn. Humanity is no longer the protected. We are the protectors now, to any who threaten this world again." He paused. Then, with that calm, defiant tone humans were known for, he said, "Do you even know who you're threatening?" The Ark disappeared into the stars, leaving a trail of white fire. Years later, children would look up at the night sky and see strange lights moving among the stars. Their parents would tell them stories of when the aliens came, and the humans laughed instead of kneeling. We were never the weakest species. We were just waiting to remember what we were capable of. And far across the galaxy, deep in the dark where the Builders slept, something ancient stirred and smiled. Because now the universe had a new ruler. Humanity.